every space is 100% full of energy. Whether it's a drawer, whether it's a closet, whether it's your car or your full house, it is always 100% full of energy. It's never 95%. It's been proven that when we have a big intention, at some point we get overwhelmed and then we don't continue. So always start small. Now let's say that you freed up 1% space in that drawer within your home. Okay, now you have just created 1%, 5% space in your home for the universe to deliver to you what you're desiring today, not 5 years ago, but today. And what does the universe see for you to empower you? You've just made that space. I always say that in the energetic dance, somebody has to take the first step. So start small, clear something small with intention, get rid of the dead plants, something that's broken, something that's in your way when you're stumbling across it, when you're going to your desk or to your bedroom or something. Energy appreciates it. Meena, we grew up with Feng Shui, and our parents had these turtles and snakes and dragons, and then when we bought the house, they gifted us the Feng Shui, but we really can't relate to it. You really have to love what you have or it doesn't belong there, because you see the subconscious mind is continuously alert. And let's say you read somewhere that you should have a turtle in your certain window to bring in something, but meantime you have no relatability to it. That's when we question it. Declutter your phone. We always say the files on your computer. Behind the scenes, it all makes a difference. Manifesting is so important. We first have to think it, we have to feel it, we have to really want it, and then starts the manifestation process. And we always say in the world of manifestation that when you plant a seed, the next day you don't see a plant coming out of it or a tree growing and giving you fruit, right? But that doesn't mean we dig it out of the soil and we throw it away saying it's not serving us. What do? We nurture it with water, air, sunlight, fresh energy, and sometimes love. Manifestation is just like that. You just mentioned the 3 key components: meditation, feng shui, and energy. It all goes hand in hand. We'll pray for 5 minutes or an hour and then we'll say this, this, and this. But we say meditation is hearing what the universe is telling us. And my word of the year last year was surrender. Surrender. Those new thoughts, those new ideas will only come to us when we are open to receiving them, not taking charge all the time. When I'll do this and tomorrow I'll make this many calls and I'll work this many hours and I'll do this, the universe is like, okay, fine. You've got everything under control. You don't need me. You see, it's just really simple, Gayatri. In my practice, it's a holistic practice. There's no discounts offered. There's no harassing phone calls the next day. The reason being that for Gayatri is whoever is meant to receive, the universe already gave them a nudge. There's no convincing whatsoever. This is classical feng shui. It's very precise. And even if somebody's building a new home, we still focus on energy clearing because we don't know where that material came from. Who was cutting the wood, who was shipping it, who was hammering the nails, what kind of energy went in. So it is a very holistic based practice that I have. I always say in Feng Shui, there's an area at North, career and quality of life. I put so much focus on quality of life. I'm surprised you brought the example of Airbnb, and I'll share something with you.
Hello everyone. Get ready for a transformative journey in today's episode with remarkable Meena from Momentum Feng Shui, your expert guide in the art of Feng Shui. Meena isn't just any mentor. She is a visionary who transforms spaces and spirits, helping you channel your inner power and align your surroundings for breakthrough success and peace. Exciting news for our listeners. Meena is generously offering a complimentary 20 minutes consultation just for you. Dive into the description below to unlock your easy way to success and peace. Tune in till the end and discover how to elevate your energy and space and take the first step towards a revitalized life with Meena's expert guidance. Let's make this change impactful and start your path to a harmonious and fulfilling lifestyle. Please welcome Meena from Momentum Feng Shui. Welcome, Meena, to What's a Pro.
Thank you, Gayatri. Thank you for this beautiful opportunity to spread the word on feng shui and energy.
So let's start from the very basic. What is Feng Shui?
Very basic feng shui is an Eastern modality where we arrange things within four walls, within a dwelling, whether it's our home or office, so that the chi flows smoothly to serve us.
And chi, with chi you mean energy.
Chi energy, yes.
So, as we are recording it today on February 4th, I understand this happens to be a new year of Feng Shui.
Yes, yes.
What is
You might have heard last week, few days ago, the Chinese New Year, they go by the lunar calendar. The Feng Shui New Year doesn't fluctuate. It's every year, it's on February 4th because we use the solar calendar. So happy Feng Shui New Year to you, the year of the wood snake.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yeah, I heard about this wood snake that like 2025 happens to be a wood snake. What is the significance of this and how do you use it in your like in your calendar or in your life?
Yes. So in a nutshell, every year there's the different zodiac signs for animals, and this year happens to be the year of the wood snake. And the snake is known for shedding, being strategic and shedding. So shedding the old, letting go of the past intentionally, because now we have this awareness that we can focus more on it. Letting go of the things that didn't serve us, letting go of emotions, anger, frustration. Perfect time to start when it comes to strategy. Start the new. And it's a good reminder during the Feng Shui New Year, but anytime's a good time in our manifestation world. But start with intention, new projects, new ventures, new thoughts, or if you already had them, give it more energy, more thought of starting something new. It's a beautiful reset. Generally speaking, we reset over calendar year. You know, January 1st, everybody makes resolutions, and some of us pull through, some fall off the wagon at some point. But this is another reminder, a beautiful energetic reset.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So, how do you use Feng Shui in your day-to-day life? Like, this use of these symbols. There are a lot of lots of use of animals and plants. So, walk us through the process when you uh, make use of Feng Shui in somebody's life.
So there are many basics of feng shui. My website, all my blogs are full of them. Feng shui in the home entrance, outside, inside, the kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom, the office. They're general, but very effective. So if anybody's interested, they can go on the website. But for the conversation's sake, what I would like to say is be intentional, and the way that I describe this the best, where I know from my experience that my clients, it really resonates with them right away, and I'll share with your listeners as well, is every space is 100% full of energy. Whether it's a drawer, whether it's a closet, whether it's your car or your full house, it is always 100% full of energy. It's never 95%. Okay. How much of that is serving energy? That's the key. Is there broken things in there? Is there stagnant energy in there? Is there the past emotion stuck in there? Things that we don't use, things that aren't serving us. Clutter is a common word, but within that, it's all those things that I just mentioned. Now, let's say that after this podcast, you went around your home and let's say you cleared your utility drawer. Okay, because we always say in my practice, start small, start small. It's been proven that when we have a big intention, at some point we get overwhelmed and then we don't continue. So always start small. Now let's say that you freed up 1% space in that drawer. within your home, okay? Or you cleaned a closet over the week and you got rid of all the clothes that aren't you're not connected to, that don't bring you joy anymore, whether they don't fit or they're old or somebody gave it to you. Now you have just created 1%, 5% space in your home for the universe to deliver to you what you're desiring today, not 5 years ago, but today. And what does the universe see for you to empower you? You've just made that space. It is really that simple. And I always say, I laugh about this, but I always say that my job would be so much easier to bring calm and peace and prosperous vibes into the world if I could just show everybody, okay, this is your space. 43% is heavy and 57% is this. They would jump on it right away. We all would. But it's not, heavy energy is not seen, it is felt. So the clients that do the work, they follow the recommendations. I wake up to beautiful messages of, Meena, we can't believe we're feeling this or that.
Right. So yeah, in one of your blogs, I was reading the same thing, like clearing up the old stuff to make space for new energy and new stuff to come in.
Yeah, new opportunities. Yes, yes.
Right. But I never thought it was connected with the energy. They were just like, as a common person will think like that's just a thing that I got, but we never thought it's connected with some energies.
Yeah,
And
there's only so much we can put in writing, I guess. This is why one-on-one, and you can see my passion because I have heard from my clients around the globe over the years of how amazing the transformation has been for them. And a lot of times it's not day one, it's day two. By the way, Gayatri, I'll share something quickly with you. I call it the energetic dance. I don't know how this came to me, but it makes so much sense years ago. I always say that in the energetic dance, somebody has to take the first step. So start small, clear something small with intention, get rid of the dead plants, something that's broken, something that's in your way when you're stumbling across it, when you're going to your desk or to your bedroom or something. Energy appreciates it. Then it feels appreciated. It empowers you that little bit. Now, the next day, next week, you're feeling empowered all of a sudden, and you're wanting to make more changes. Energy feels the gratitude towards it, it serves you more, and it's a beautiful, energetic dance. But somebody has to take that first step.
and that somebody is us. Yeah,
Exactly, exactly, yes. Yeah, it's the intention.
right, right.
Mm.
So till now I was thinking Feng Shui is like, everybody thinks like Feng Shui is something like keep some stuff in some corner, like directions, like put an aquarium somewhere, put a statue of some animal, or like the turtle or rabbit somewhere. But this is totally different that I'm listing. So how do you
Yeah.
get yeah, how do you differentiate that?
I can respond in so many ways because you asked a great question. Let me start by saying that when I do a discovery call, this is one of the things that I mentioned. I am trained in classical feng shui. This is where it originated over 5,000 years ago. None of this is gimmicky. Okay, this is very precise. Where is the energy entering from in your home? It is not the back left-hand corner is this, or the back right-hand corner is this, or east is this, and west is this. That's pretty generic. Now, being Indian, let's talk about this at the next level. You know how we if we didn't grow up in astrology, we definitely heard about it. Okay, so in the general world, especially back when we had newspapers and magazines, if somebody looked at a horoscope, all Geminis, this will be your week or your month, and all Aries, this will be your week and month. And we kind of looked at it and said, that doesn't sound like me, right? But when we wanted an actual astrology reading, we went to a legit astrologer. He asked for date of birth, place of birth, and time of birth, sometimes to the minute. Then they prepared a precise report for you. This is classical feng shui. So the Indian in me didn't allow me to take shortcuts of just learning online for a few hours and self-advocating that I'm a feng shui consultant. When this gave me a nudge, I sourced out and realized there's classical feng shui. So my training, the advanced certification, comes from China. I spent a month there and got certified with that, and I haven't looked back since. But the difference in classical feng shui is, where is the energy entering from? Is it in an office, in a hallway, a condominium, an apartment, a building with a view lot, a building, a home in a T section, a home, a corner lot? It's not always the front door. It's actually where most energy is entering from. Is it entering at 121.5, 257.2? Doesn't matter. All that happens in my office. My delivery is very simple, but it is that precise. Now, to go back to your question about placing those general things, if a client has them, because I have walked into homes where I see that, or something hanging from the ceiling, or some food dogs at the front, I don't judge. I don't judge unless it is opposing to the remedy that I'm going to recommend to them. If they love it, keep it. Do I recommend it in my practice? No. This is why the second and third generation, because you're probably aware my home is in Vancouver, and there's a lot of large Asian community here. Mm-hmm. And the second and third generation Asian young adults, or even Indian, they love working with me for the simple fact that, and this is based on what they've shared over the years. Meena, we grew up with feng shui, and our parents had these turtles and snakes and dragons, and then when we bought the house, they gifted us the feng shui, but we really can't relate to it. Okay, so in my practice, I am big on intention. You really have to love what you have, or it doesn't belong there. Because you see, the subconscious mind is continuously alert. We think we're just going from here to over there, but the subconscious mind picks up everything along the way. I wish this wasn't here, this, and I wish this, So it's important to really love. In my practice, the remedies are beautifully incorporated into the decor. Nothing stands out for the wrong reasons.
Right. Because any book about Feng Shui you pick up, you get to read, or any, even if you Google or on internet, you find, okay, to bring positive energy, put aquarium at the door or whatever. So
Gayatri, that's an important question. I'm glad you reminded me about the aquarium. So you'll hear me often when I do, especially when I do public speaking, but even on some of my videos, water and mirrors. There are two things that can either work for you or against you. Okay, so aquarium in general, water is related to prosperity in feng shui. Okay, yes, I will mention that. Having said that, if you just Google general, what is the symbol of water in feng shui, just even general feng shui, it is this. When it is placed in a place where it is not needed, it is up and down emotions, emotional imbalance. Okay, so I calculate based on the square footage of the space, the year it was built, when the ceiling went on, when it was born, and most importantly, my compass reading, which I sitting in my office, I consult around the world. I have a feng shui compass. So with all of that is how I determine what remedy is needed in your career sector, what is needed in the wealth sector, relationship sector, health sector. If, as an example, that sector needs fire, and you've got water going in there as an aquarium or a water fountain, that is the total opposite. Not only have you not placed the fire that's needed, but that water is putting out the fires. You see, in the 5 elements of feng shui, water and fire are the two most powerful ones. Water is continuously trying to put the fire out, and fire is continuously trying to take over. So we have to be very mindful of that.
Yeah. So, is it based on the directions?
Generally speaking, general feng shui, yes. Vastu, we're Indian, Vastu Shastra, yes. East and northeast are considered auspicious. Some other directions, not so much. Not to have the kitchen here and the bathroom there. That's general, like I said, when we read in a newspaper. But my study and my delivery, by the way, is very simple. When I walk in or when I'm virtually consulting, the first thing within 5 minutes I tell the clients is, you have the report in front of you. Please don't let this overwhelm you. This is a condensed version of behind the scenes. We're going to go through everything once on paper, then once around the whole house, but we are going to have fun. They instantly light up, and we always do, guaranteed 100%. Not once have I walked out after a consultation where the client felt like I didn't get this. We always have fun. And having said that, it is precise. It is not just based on east or west or south or north. It is according to their study.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was actually going to come to, I was coming to Vastu Shastra as we speak about it. What is different? What is the difference between Vastu Shastra and Feng Shui?
Okay. You're asking all the great questions. I'm not having to think of any. Thank you. And this is important. So, as you might be aware, I'm Punjabi. I'm Indian. I grew up in Canada, and I'm fluent in Hindi, Punjabi, and Urdu. So, I'd say 40% of my clients are Indian. I live in Vancouver, as I said, and there's a large Indian population here. Having said that, when I first started years ago, my practice probably would have doubled in the first year if I had trained in Vastu, because there's a lot of the Indian people that build here from scratch. Okay. But when I started to look into this more and more, as the energy kept giving me a nudge over years, the reason I trained in Feng Shui instead is I would like to serve the clients on what their concerns are and provide a solution. Now, we live in North America, okay, whether it's in the States or in Canada. The houses are, generally speaking, they're pre-built. Okay, so if we move into a house, I have realtors that I work with on the East Coast, and they have their clients call me all the time. This Meena, we found them a house based on their budget, the location, the number of bedrooms, the area, but it's not facing east or northeast. Could you please talk to them? And then when I tell them about Feng Shui, when I tell them, you see, in a lot of my public speaking in the recordings, you'll hear me say, often in classical Feng Shui, there is a remedy for almost everything. I am goal oriented. I have clients calling me from California and Seattle all the time, referring other clients for the same reason. And that is, what do we do? This is a house we have. This is a business we have. We've been here this long. Something is off. And I provide solutions. Now, if I was trained in Vastu, I would share my findings just like I do in Feng Shui, but I wouldn't necessarily have a solution. What would happen in that case, Gayatri, is one, I would get paid for something and walk out. But what have I done? I have actually created fear. Oh, this house is wrong. This is not good for us. So what do? They either move or they live in fear. That the Indian in me or Meena in me, that does not sit well. So if it meant going to China, getting trained and building my practice contrary to what a lot of my Indian community knows, so it is. I'm here to serve energy.
Right, right. So, coming back to clutter-free area, when we move to new home or new office, or we are building up new office space for your desk, for example, how do you start a Feng Shui? How do you use Feng Shui in that space where there is nothing, you're just starting up?
Yeah, great question again. So two things. Let's talk about the business office first. So when the world shut down 5 years ago, 50% of our consultations became setting up offices, home offices. All right. So let's start about that first. So on my website, again, there's I think, two blogs just on this. Most important thing, because a lot of us are still working from homes or even an office outside, is number one most important thing is having a solid wall behind you. Okay, we call it the command position. So let's say it's a blanket, it's a blank slate, like you said, and we're setting them up. So the number one thing is set up your desk as much as possible with a solid wall behind you. What not to do is to have your back to the door or be sitting under a window. Okay, the reason for that is depleting energy. The same applies for headboards, by the way, as to have a solid headboard behind you and a solid wall behind the headboard when sleeping, because 1/3 of our life we're there and we're meant to rest and rejuvenate there. Going back to the office, setting it up where you should be able to see the door in front of you and the window on the side. Okay, then your energy is not continuously on guard. I don't know what's going on behind my back, and we think that way, but we're talking about energy, right? So that is the number one thing. Now, going back to a house, a lot of times when clients are moving into another house that they purchased, they're relocating. The ideal time for us to do the consultation is within the first 4 or 5 days after they've moved. We set it up months ago. I'm booked 3 months in advance. We're booking into end of April now. But for those clients, I give them a priority. The priority is that make sure you're moved in, but you haven't quite settled in yet. Okay, so I can see the furniture. I can see. By the way, Gayatri, I don't make anybody remove any walls or sell off any furniture. It's really simple. Classical Feng Shui was meant to be practical without all the rest of the fluff that sadly is added. And we don't, this is why, again, I didn't train in other modalities. I won't keep naming them because I'm not here to make anybody remove any walls or for them to move. But going back to when they move in, 5 to 6 days after they moved in is when I will go and I will consult with them. I will guide them on the best placement, the best colors, the shapes, the artwork on the walls, and answer any questions that they may have. This way, they have what they have, and if they're wanting to upgrade something, furniture or anything, I'm at their disposal, according to Feng Shui.
So when we say remedies, what kind of remedies do Feng Shui offer?
Okay. Again, keeping it simple is there's 5 elements in Feng Shui. There's water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. Okay, so if it's a metal remedy, I will, depending on the square footage and what year the roof went on and my compass finding, I will tell them you need X number of pounds of metal in this place. We disguise it beautifully. Under a sofa, behind a cabinet, over something. Nobody ever needs to see it. But metal is only placed when the energy is heavy in that area based on my findings on the numbers that I do. There's there's a large worksheet behind the scenes, and I know where, when that unit was built, a house or a business, I know where those heavy numbers were built. Number 5 star, the health star, as an example. I won't get too complicating about classical Feng Shui, but I'm sharing why we place metal. Then there's the water, small water fountain, but how to place it with intention, where to get it, what to do and what not to do. Then there's the fire. Fire, as you know, one match can take down a whole forest. So we introduce it in very small, a small red night light. But again, where to place it? You know, plants, crystals. They're when I say crystals, they're $20, $30. They're not hundreds and thousands of dollars, right? So again, it is all, one is to be precise. Two, in my practice, I can say this with confidence, I am all about intention. Today is the Feng Shui New Year, as we talked about. A lot of my clients have been getting back to me, messaging me since the last week, since the year started, but more so last week and today, saying, how do we dispose of our last year's salt cures? And the heading that I send them is dispose them with gratitude. I'm in intention-based spiritual practice. The calculations, remedies are calculated very precise, but it's the intention that takes it to the next level.
Yeah. So speaking about crystals and plants, I forgot to ask you about the bamboo plant that use like it's everywhere on in the stores. Wherever you go, you find Feng Shui bamboo, and we gift. It is, I don't know. It's a myth that you're not supposed to buy it yourself. Somebody is supposed to gift it to you, especially for new homes or new office desks.
Yes.
What is your take about it?
Yeah. Again, it's is it a remedy for one of my calculated, precise findings? No. A lot of times people have bamboo. I have it in my home. Okay. Is it going to hurt? No. It's a plant.
Yeah.
Okay, and if somebody says it's a myth, and which I've heard of many times too, is then follow that. Then sure, get somebody to gift it to you, or you gift it to somebody else. It's a plant. It's not, when I talk about being precise and really loving what's in your space, when you see a bamboo, it brings joy to you, right? But if it was something that is totally foreign, and let's say you read somewhere that you should have a turtle in your certain window for to bring in something, but meantime you have no relatability to it, that's when we question it.
Yeah.
So the bamboo, yes, water it, watch it grow.
Right. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So, coming to the career aspect of using Feng Shui in career, so how can you give one or two tips about having the wall behind you? Any more tips to boost your career or business?
Yeah,
That
like I said, I'm going to share with you what's coming to me, and of course, time permits. But there's a lot more on my website under the business section, and there's blogs on it too over the years. So going back to the career sector, one, the crystal for it. Okay, I'm sitting in my office. So you see behind me, this is citrine. That's a citrine crystal. Citrine has been allocated to enhance career properties. I also custom create citrine bracelets with intention for that purpose to be worn on the left hand side. Now, the other thing is, what is the thought process when we're first walking into our office in the morning? Very important. That sets the tone for the energy. So we always say, open the door, turn the light on, express gratitude. Okay, I have my spiritual picture, my small altar in my office. Somebody can have something else. Somebody, if doesn't have any connection to anything, then expressing gratitude to the universal white light for another opportunity. Set the tone for the day. That is most important. Other than that, we always say, shut down the office at night. Express gratitude for all the opportunities, for joy in your business. We are beings of circumstantial things. Well, this didn't happen and that didn't happen and that, but there's always something good, an opportunity to be grateful for. Let's start focusing on that and multiplying. Again, as I said, I'm big on spirituality. I think growing up in an Indian family it came natural. But having said that, especially since the world reopened, it is so many other beings are also shifting into energy, gratitude, manifestation, spirituality, crystals, just taking time out and calming down. It all goes hand in hand. So that is the first and foremost thing I'd like to share is how you set the tone and how you end your day. Now, secondly, physically, yes, having the desk in a command position is very important in feng shui as far as business and prosperity. What is in your plain view? If there's files that you have dealt with that are done, file them away. You don't want that energy remixing next week, that person or client calling back and about something else and something else. And you see, because you're keeping it in your current energetic space. So when something is done, file it away. Only keep current things at your desk. Decluttering again. What is in plain view? Is it a beautiful vibe? When you step into your space, do you feel good? Because if not, then let's fix it. It's really, bring plants into your office. If even if one, as an example, a lot of the times we don't have natural light in an office. Let's just say, well, a snake plant. Snake plant, it can thrive in low light,
Mhm.
and it doesn't go crazy big, and it's easy to maintain. So a snake plant, a bamboo, okay, something small, bringing live energy that just warms up your energetic being. And declutter your phone. We always say the files on your computer behind the scenes, it all makes a difference. And going back to the citrine crystal to continuously empower you.
Yeah. Yeah. So another question about the career, like sometimes we feel stuck in our career, right? We are not happy with our job. We're looking for a new job, but we are not finding anything. Or even somebody wants to change their career path altogether. Any tips for moving ahead in career?
Yes.
Steps.
It all starts in my practice, it starts with manifesting. Manifesting is so important. We first have to think it, we have to feel it, we have to really want it, and then starts the manifestation process. Two things are coming to me to share. One is I teach Feng Shui vision board courses. I'm the only person that teaches them that I know of every year. I used to teach it January and September. Now it's just January because my practice is busy. But we have an online course, which is the same thing, me sitting in front and guiding you through the modules. Now, what happens there is I'll share a story with you. One of my clients took the course with me years ago, and then a couple of years later, I met them at another event. But this time, she brought her young adult daughter with her. I think the daughter was in her early 20s, and so the circle went around and said, "Okay, who do you know here?" And she said, "I know Meena. Meena invited me to this circle, and I just want to thank Meena." And then she expressed her gratitude. But then the daughter's turn came. And the daughter said, "Meena, it is such an honor to meet you." She said, "You assisted my mom." I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this. She said, "You assisted my mom in the career sector when she reached out to you about manifesting during your Feng Shui vision board course. You guided her to wear the citrine bracelet a certain way, certain time of the day." She goes, she put that on her vision board. She goes, few months later, not only did she manifest that exact same large company in downtown, a tech company in downtown Vancouver, she said, but even her supervisor that she put as her manager on her vision board looks almost like the person she put. Can you imagine? And then I have another client who's a beautiful, very productive entrepreneur. She's a lab tech, she's a Reiki master, has so many things going for her. She shared with me last year, she said, "Meena, in 1 year, I had to redo my vision board 3 times
Mhm.
because everything I put in each sector kept surfacing." You see, Gayatri, it starts with manifestation. We have to do our part. The last thing we want is, or I try to divert the client's thinking pattern is, well, so and so has it, and maybe it's just not meant to be, and why them and why not me? This is the opposite of what we want. The universe doesn't discriminate. Who's putting in the energy? Who's putting in the work? And we always say in the world of manifestation that when you plant a seed, the next day, you don't see a plant coming out of it or a tree growing and giving you fruit, right? But that doesn't mean we dig it out of the soil and we throw it away saying it's not serving us. What do? We nurture it with water, air, sunlight, fresh energy, and sometimes love. Manifestation is just like that. Anything in the world of manifestation is possible. The key, and again, comes easy to us Indians, is to have faith.
Yeah.
Have faith.
Right. Right.
If some of my clients are able to do it, everybody else can too. I'm doing it.
Right. Right.
And that's what I teach.
Nice. Yeah. So we'll talk about manifestation, but before that, can you explain what vision board is? What is vision board?
Okay. Well, I've been talking about it all month, so it's still very fresh in my mind because January was all about vision boarding. Um, Basically, a vision board, if you just Google it in general terms, it's been used for hundreds of years. People cut and paste and they put it on the wall, and a lot of people will report that their vision boarding experiences came true. Simple as that. Now, how did I take it to the next level? Years ago, it just came to me because I've also been vision boarding ever since I can remember. But when I trained as a feng shui master, it came to me all of a sudden, feng shui vision board. If there's an area in a business or in a home which denotes to career, which denotes to health, to children, to wealth, to well-being, to meditation, why can't we have that allocated space on a vision board? Okay, so we cut and paste, we write affirmations, we go around in a clockwise manner, and that is just one component of vision boarding. But in my course, I teach how to visit it daily, 5 minutes a day, morning and night. What crystal to keep next to it, where to keep it in your home or office, and where not to keep it. We start with a grounding meditation. We set our intentions. We work with moon energy. Again, comes natural to Indians. Full moon, new moon is new beginnings. Full moon is release what's not serving you. So it's a whole component of manifestation. But my biggest tool is the vision board. We call it the feng shui vision board.
Right, right. But sometimes we are so stuck that we don't even know what our goals are or what our like dreams are. Does Feng Shui or meditation or manifestation, does it help to find your goal or find your dream, what you really want?
Exactly. You just mentioned the three key components: meditation, feng shui, and energy. It all goes hand in hand. But what do we have to do? Let me just use an example. Let's say that I'm talking and somebody else is talking. While I'm talking, I cannot hear them,
Right.
right? I would have to stop so I can hear them. It really is as simple as that. We need to ground our energy. Start small, 5 minutes a day. To us Indians, a lot of times, what happens, and sometimes in other cultures too, is we grew up in prayer. Okay, and I'm the biggest advocate of prayer. I have nothing against it. But prayer is basically, they say, telling the universe what you want. You will pray for 5 minutes or an hour and then we'll say this and this. But we say meditation is hearing what the universe is telling us. Okay, ground our energy, be open. And my word of the year last year was surrender. Surrender. Okay, I could not remind myself enough because life gets in the way. We're all humans, including me, and life happens. And surrender, surrender. When we call it the universal father, well, growing up, a father figure, right? Then let it guide us.
Mhm.
Surrender. We're especially, go, and we will take the $5,000 weekend course and we'll be like, rah, 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 and go. And even in all countries now, it's not just in North America anymore. That is fine. Strategy is good. Okay. I use it in my practice too. But having said that, there is something to be said about the power of surrendering and hearing. That doesn't mean that we don't do our part, but first really ground our energy. Those new thoughts, those new ideas will only come to us when we are open to receiving them, not taking charge all the time. When I'll do this and tomorrow I'll make this many calls and I'll work this many hours and I'll do this, the universe is like, okay, fine. You've got everything under control. You don't need me. You see, like, it's just really simple, Gayatri.
Mm. Right. But that, again, finding that one goal, because we keep getting ideas, because now on internet we get so many ideas. People keep listening to different podcasts and they're like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. But then that one idea where we want to focus and we want to take our life to that one idea. How to come to that one idea? How to find your actual goal?
Yes, so I will start by sharing that there's no magic wand.
Mm.
Okay, it's not one shoe fits all. right? The one idea might work for somebody, it might not for the other. But what is, again, I keep saying going back to being Indian, but a lot of this just comes natural to us, destiny. Nobody has to convince most of us about destiny. We already know that, right? But we also know in the world of manifestation that when you go, there could be a road going two ways.
Right.
Which side are you going to go? Is the side, is it because so and so did this and they thrived from here to here and I can do the same? Or is it going inwards and connecting with what is resonating with you? Right. So I'll share my own story quickly. I first stumbled across a Feng Shui book 28 years ago when my son was born. Back then we didn't have Google and chapters and, I don't know where I got it, when things are meant to be. It was a coffee table book. Life happened. That book stayed at my coffee table the whole time. Different households, different cities. Like 28 years is a long time. That book stayed with me. I lost my father 9 years ago, and my father was a very spiritual man. So I would go travel around with my previous job and come home, share with him. I'd also share with him my feng shui fascination. And he was my best friend, and he would always be fascinated by my stories and my experiences. When I lost him few months later, I truly feel to this day he's my guiding spirit that said, okay, Meena, enough talking about feng shui. You need to do something about this. Now, I was a flight attendant for 20 years, at the time for 13, 14 years. And I had to pay the bills. So, but my passion took over. I was still flying, but I started to look into feng shui more than what I knew from my coffee table book. And that's when I discovered that there's so many different offshoots of it. Just like in India, meditation, yoga, and all the holistic practices, Ayurveda, all originated in India, but then sadly, when it was brought to the Western world, it got diluted. Reiki originated in Japan, same thing. Feng Shui in China. So then the Indian in me gravitated more to classical feng shui and paying respect to it. I went and I trained with an organization from Ireland, did my in-person training in San Diego, all good, but as I said, bills had to be paid, continue flying. Then I was one of the 17 selected from around the world to go spend a month in China and get my certification. I was like, okay, this is another calling. So I listened. You see, like I listened. I didn't say I don't have this, I can't do this, or it's not for me. Going inwards is important. It was scheduled a year prior for October of 2019. I went, I did my training, got certified, came back a month later, China shut down. 3 months later, the world shut down. Okay, you see how what the reason I'm sharing this, Gayatri, is, and this is not just my story. My clients sometimes share similar stories of their own experiences. Everything fell into place because I was doing my part. Did I know that I gave up my flying career of 20 years, and my colleagues all thought, all 3,000 of them thought, nobody does this, Meena, but this is my calling. But it didn't happen overnight. It was definitely not strategy in this case. I listened to my inner being and did my part.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, like meditation is the key. Yes.
Meditation and just not, quick overnight things can happen. We hear those stories once in a while too, but we're all unique. We came as a unique being and we're going to leave as a unique person when the time comes. And what happens while we're here is really, we have to do our due diligence.
Right. Yeah. So coming back to manifestation again, what not to do in manifestation? Because there is a group of some people, they don't believe in manifestation. They believe that whatever happens to you happens for the best. And what if you manifest for something that is not meant for you? And if that comes to you, that will harm you. So what not to do in manifestation?
Yes. Again, there's a word in Hindi, but I'll just say it in English. So there's destiny, and then there's our effort. We always say they go hand in hand. When somebody wants to manifest something, It is the wording that is very important that I teach in my manifestation courses is not that I want this and I want this and I want this, like a child constantly pulling at the parent. I want this, having temper tantrums because now we're not getting it, right? Always end the manifestation process with for my higher good and the higher good of everybody else, right? Put it out there to the universe, connect with the universe, but leave it up to the universe to see is it serving you. Because I'll just give you a quick example of my own life. If I look back 20 years from now, did I envision myself being here? No. Having faith and trust. Because my life turned out very differently than where I thought it was going. But it can be for all of us. It can be for, so do your part. Give it its due diligence, the respect, the gratitude, and let the universe flow things to you the way that will serve you the best.
So when you say, let's talk about the career part of being a Feng Shui master. When you say you do classic Feng Shui, and people already have this preconceived notions about uh, Feng Shui that they have read everywhere else, how do you convince your clients?
There's no convincing. There's no convincing. No, again, another great question because I deal with this almost 90% of my discovery calls. When a client books on the calendar, I don't know who they are. I show up on time and we talk, and 90% of the time, if not more, is the same thing. I did this, I did that according to the internet. Most of the time, they will share with me that the reason they're talking to me is because they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. One said this, one said that. It's like I said, let's go back to the theory about speaking to an astrologer. If you find a legit astrologer, two of them, they're all going to tell you this star was here, this planet was here, and so on. They're not going to tell you something different. That's how a classical feng shui master is. And I always tell them there's no follow-up. In my practice, it's a holistic practice. There's no discounts offered. There's no harassing phone calls the next day. The reason being that for Gayatri is whoever is meant to receive, the universe already gave them a nudge. There's no convincing whatsoever. This is classical feng shui. It's very precise. I will tell them your energy is entering at 141.7. And this is with the declination, not just even on the compass. We take declination. Again, all that is big words. It happens behind the scenes in my office, and my delivery is very simple, but it is precise. It is not something that they're just self-diagnosed on the internet. Internet can't do that for you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also use Om in Feng Shui. That's what I read on your website, one of the blogs. Uh, Talk to us about the fusion that you made from the Indian philosophy and Feng Shui.
Yeah. I'm the only feng shui master that I know that puts so much emphasis into balancing the energy in the home and then adding the precisely calculated feng shui tools. When I was searching for a name, when I officially started my company years ago, I I stumbled. I in my head I had to Indianize it. I had to incorporate spirituality into it. I had to incorporate energy balancing into it. And one day the name just came to me. Like I'm still so grateful for that. The word momentum, MOM, momentum. And I thought bringing Om into feng shui. Because as you know, 70% of this conversation, 80% was all about intention and gratitude, right? So if you talk to a traditional feng shui master, they'll tell you, yeah, I'll come in and we'll do this, and then this will be my fee, and then this is my experience, and this is my training, right? At no point is there mention of gratitude, intention, energy in the spiritual component, and so on. So to me, it is so important to first remove the stagnant energy. Do it with intention. How to do it? How to go around the home? What to chant? Which vibration to play at the time? And before 12 noon, and it's all intention based. And let's touch on that, by the way, because we didn't talk about it. that is 50% of my practice, is removing the stagnant energy before I'll even guide the clients to place the feng shui tools. We live in homes where a lot of times they're pre-owned when we purchase them, or we occupy office spaces that are somebody else was there. The one of the questions that is on my questionnaire, it's a digital questionnaire, very easy to complete, but I need to know those things, is who do you know the history of the place? Who lived here or worked here before? Did they move on in a prosperous way? Okay, in a business, in a house, do you know if they moved on in a prosperous way? Sometimes people will share there was a death in the home, there was elderly, they were sick, or there was a relationship breakdown, or they couldn't afford the payments. Well, you see, that energy is stuck still in the wall, ceiling, paint, carpet, furnishings. It's important to reset that energy before we place the feng shui tool. So that's where spirituality comes in. And even if somebody's building a new home, we still focus on energy clearing because we don't know where that material came from. Who was cutting the wood, who was shipping it, who was hammering the nails, what kind of energy went in. So it is a very holistic based practice that I have. And that's where bringing the Om, starting the day with intention and ending with intention, is self-explanatory alone.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. We never thought about that energy, like paints and even cutting woods, like that
Yeah.
also.
Yeah. We when one of my I have 5 houses being built with me here in this part of the country right now. Well, four left, one just moved in. Even when they were, two of them had pre-existing homes on there. Three were in a brand new subdivisions around the area, and even then, when they're digging, I go in and I do energy clearing to ask Mother Earth's permission before we put weight on it. And the two that had houses, old houses on it before, on it, is to, again, to release that any stagnant energy that Mother Earth was holding for them, and ask Mother Earth's blessings, and then they start putting the foundation in. And this practice, energy clearing, the last one was in Netherlands, outside of Amsterdam, just a couple of weeks ago. I do energy clearing sitting in my office, but I renew, and I have very Zenergy chimes that are programmed for this purpose, where they will detect there's something in that drawer, or who sat on that side of the sofa or something. They will stop chiming, and they're programmed for that purpose. And clients are sometimes blown away, and I always tell them, I don't need to know. I don't need to know what happened. I'm just telling you that this is the case, and this is now I'm going to need you to open the door or the window so I can release that heavy energy. That is part of spirituality.
Yeah. But sometimes we don't know who was living in the previous house, or who was working on the same desk where we are going to continue working. I mean, we joined a new job and we don't know who was working there, or even this, for example, short-term rental apartments, like this Airbnb and VRBO. If we are planning to buy that kind of home, the people come and go, so we don't, the particular energy is not stuck in that area. I mean, that's what I understand.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. So I'm surprised you brought the example of Airbnb, and I'll share something with you. But first of all, it's a question that's asked on the questionnaire. It doesn't mean that the person needs to know. It just helps me a little bit more on going zoning in more. I still have to release the previous energy. Right. So regardless of if we know or not, that energy needs to be reset and released. So I'll share with you, a few months after the world shut down in June of 2020, we purchased a home. Okay. And the home was one of those view lots where the living room and everything's above. And as soon as you walk in, there's bedrooms. There were two houses alike. This one that we purchased, the previous Asian owners were renting it as an Airbnb by the room. They weren't living in this house, okay? The whole house was 5 bedrooms on the main floor, all being rented as that. It said on the door, it said number 1, number 2, number 3, because they were renting it as that. So knowing what I know, it took me 2 days to release, because even though the first day before we moved in, I went in and I did what I know best, And the second day I was still picking up because there were so many people over 5, 6 years, 5 bedrooms of being rented to different people, right? Was I able to release it? Yeah. We were there for 5 years until we decided to move to another place, and we were living in a prosperous, healthy way. It's very doable. Is it important? Yes. Even when we go into hotel rooms, I have a mini ritual when clients take me to other cities, and the first thing I do is I take my mini ritual and I purify the space in the hotel room, because we don't know how many people have used it. I mean, I know that's to a next level, but to answer your question, is there such a thing? Yes. Is it fixable? Yes.
Right. So, as a common person, how do we know that there is a bad energy there?
Okay. It's I always say that my job would be so much easier if I could show the energy as I shared before, but it's not seen, it's felt. A lot of times, generally speaking, a lot of times, let's say somebody moved into a house or they purchased a business, and they purchased a business because on paper, let's use that example, that it was showing that it was a very successful business for this other person for 5 years, 10 years, or whatever. And so they're selling it and somebody else purchases it. Now a year goes by and it's not what producing what they thought it would. Or let's take the example of a home. Somebody built a house or they moved into a pre-existing home. And so many examples are coming to my head right now where the woman of the, because woman is female energy, is yin energy. Yin energy, we're more intuitive, more sensitive, generally speaking. Okay. And the woman shared with me, word per word, I was happier in our previous older home. Okay. It takes a while. It takes 6 months, a year, generally speaking, for people to really put two and two together and say, it's not what I thought it would be, or I'm not happy, or I'm not as happy as I was before. Energy starts to weigh you down if it's stagnant energy, other people's energy in your home. If somebody shares with me, well, because when I ask, on the calls, I ask them, do you know who lived there before? Yes, when we went to look at the house, this room was being used by somebody who was sick, or they were sleeping in separate bedrooms, they were going through a relationship breakdown, or some sort of an example. And then the client can relate to it. But at the end of the day, it is, whether it's health issues, relationship issues, or financial issues, or sometimes children issues with young adults, it almost always has to do with the energy that's not supporting them in their life endeavors, bringing them down instead of supporting them.
Yeah, it's deep. Yeah, I'm sure we have a lot to talk, like many different topics, and it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot, but in a nutshell, is there a solution? Yes, yeah, there's a solution. Renew the energy and live contentfully. I always say in Feng Shui, there's an area north, career and quality of life. I put so much focus on quality of life. And whether it's on my vision board, that same area, or in a home or in an office, that area is there in the north. And that is allocated to quality of life. It's really in our control, because we come and then we go. But what is the quality in between is what we're here for. So it's very doable.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, coming to the career aspect of this, of being a Feng Shui master, any tips for the newcomers who want to start Feng Shui as their career? Where do they
One, it has to be a calling. So when we say as their career, I don't think I'm the person to ask that, because for me, it wasn't. I was happily employed. I was traveling around the world, 20 years seniority. I was happy, and I'm in my 60s. So, I was fine where I was. This was not like, oh, I'm going to zone in and do this. Really go inward and make it your calling. If you think that it's going to start with dollars and cents, this might not be the career. Okay, because it's something that it happens over, for me, this is 8 years now of doing this at this extent. And then the universe starts to reward you. That's when you get referrals and speaking engagements and so on. But is it something that you can enhance in your home to support you in whatever your other passions might be? Definitely, definitely. There's a whole area allocated to this in feng shui. And we always say, yes, north is for career as an example in feng shui, southeast is prosperity. That's great. But I am big on making sure all eight are supported, including the center, which is the ninth one, which is gratitude and self-love. They all feed each other.
Mm.
You see, when the discovery calls happen and clients are asking me for the first time, generally speaking, the focus is on career and wealth, sometimes health,
Mm.
sometimes relationship, but that's it. But that's four. What about the other five sectors? They're all interconnected. So I'm big on making sure every area in your home is supported so that then you can be supported in what you are manifesting. And if it happens to be you're manifesting to be a feng shui consultant, that's what will get supported. But make sure that your training comes from a reliable source. That's where I started years ago when I got that nudge from my father. And when I look back, I think every single day almost, I express gratitude that I didn't take any shortcuts.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the world shut down, it meant different things to different people. For me, it meant ending my career and starting this.
Mm.
Just universe delivers in beautiful, mystical ways. We don't know how it's going to deliver, but it does. Having faith is the key.
Right. 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 So, what were you doing before, if I may ask, before you came into Feng Shui like full
I
time?
was a flight attendant.
Oh,
I
okay.
was a flight attendant with one of the Canadian, major Canadian airlines. So 6 months in Europe and 6 months in down south, Cuba, Mexico, and so on. So yeah, 20 years. I started in 2020
Oh,
till in 2000 until 2020. So 20-year career, and
shift.
I wouldn't trade this for the world. When my call came, when the world reopened a few months later, I was like, thank you, but no thank you. I'm good, and haven't looked back. So.
Yeah, that's a big shift. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but I wouldn't trade this for the world. I am in my happy place. Every morning I wake up, express gratitude, and start my day. I sleep in my same bed. I sleep at the same time every night, and I get to do this for the rest of my life. I'm blessed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, finally, last question. Any tips for our viewers to make simple changes for quality life? We would say anything that any simple things that they can do at home or at their office workstations.
Yeah. Gayatri, there are so many simple things they can do. And this is what gives me my content for my social media. I have my staff, I give them the content they created. We post two, three, four times a week on our Instagram page, Feng Shui with Meena.
Mm.
Excuse me. And on our website, there's so much information. All that is general information. Anybody can follow.
Right.
Okay. When it has to do with precise, that's at a different level. I'm a call away. But to follow, follow the Instagram and the Facebook pages, Momentum Feng Shui or Feng Shui with Meena. There is so much to do with energy, with bedroom placement, front door. Front door, you see, is what we call the mouth of chi energy. That's where we first have to invite it in before we can talk about circulating it precisely. And the kitchen plays such a large role in feng shui because it is the heart of the home. That's what it's considered. So there's kitchen tips on there all the time. There's general tips, so much your listeners can benefit from. I wish them good energy. Any questions, I always say I'm a message away. I'm just a message away. There's no charge for it. It's my way of giving back. If I'm putting so much information out, we have a YouTube channel. If I'm putting all that information out for anybody to watch or hear, then I can also take 30 seconds and reply to somebody if it's going to make a difference in their life.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. I'll put all the links in the description so people can just click. That's just a click away.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for your time and your inputs. It really,
Yes.
thank you.
It was great. Thank you for the opportunity. Any chance I get to spread the word on my passion and shifting the energy, I always say shifting the energy one household at a time. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you so much.